سلام بچه‌ها، حالتون چطور؟ امیدوارم که حالتون خوب باشه. با چنل آموزش زبان انگلیسی در خدمتتون هستیم. امروز هم قراره با همدیگه بخش ثبت کردن لغاتی که با همدیگه کار کردیم رو داشته باشیم و لغات جدید رو که با همدیگه خوندیم با همدیگه بریم و ثبتش بکنیم. اگه تا این لحظه این چنل رو ساب نکردین حتما ساب کنین، لایک و کامنت یادتون نره و اینکه زنگوله رو بزنین هر وقت براتون فیلم آپلود کردم ازش مطلع بشین. این چنل در واقع طوری به شما کمک میکنه که شما بدون اینکه بخواید زمان زیادی صرف کنید و یا اینکه بخواید زحمت زیادی بکشید کلی لغت جدید رو میبینید و کلی کلمه های جدید رو با استفاده از فیلم های مختلف یاد میگیرید و میتونید ازشون توی قسمت های مختلف استفاده بکنید و کم کم با استفاده از فیلم هایی که داخل چنل گذاشته میشه میتونید تمامی لغات جدید رو با تلفظ و لهجه صحیحشون یاد بگیرید و ازشون توی جاهای مختلف استفاده کنید. خب برای اینکه دیگه بیشتر از این وقتتون رو نگیرم بریم توی مرحله تثبیتی در واقع فیلممون و ببینیم که توی این مرحله به چه شیوهی میخوایم ازشون استفاده کنیم. خب بریم وارد فیلممون بشیم.
Evidence, 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 evidence.
State's evidence. You might never see trial.
Some vital evidence which eludes us.
If I had, there would have been some evidence.
Evidence of the old glasses.
Solitary, 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 solitary.
It's the single solitary human being that's finished.
We were a very reserved group, it seemed. And without exception, solitary.
Your 5 years in solitary confinement are at an end.
Last time I did that, it cost me 2 years in solitary.
The war dragged on for 2 more solitary years.
Vision, 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 vision.
Who is this?
I had a vision of a world without Batman.
Wildfires, earthquakes, tsunamis, fucking nuclear war. That's the vision I keep having.
You're saying vision isn't just the stone?
If it weren't for those accords, vision would have been right here.
Still no word from...
Frequent, 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 frequent.
Our meals were small but frequent, for stamina.
I think you might be one of our most frequent visitors.
No, I would not, sir.
You frequent nightclubs?
I've had frequent visits from William Stryker.
He's been named as a frequent companion of Lou Bates and Steve Adams.
Glimpse, 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 glimpse.
Pippin saw in the Palantir a glimpse of the enemy's plan.
Instead, I give you a glimpse of the devastation my race can unleash upon yours.
I had a glimpse into the past.
We're going to give you a glimpse. Turn it over, please.
In rare German newsreel footage, a quick glimpse of the escape was recorded.
Recent, 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 recent.
It could help cast some light on other recent incidents as well.
This comes after a recent congressional panel surprisingly votes in favor of legalizing personal drug possession without authorization.
It's not too recent.
Let's start looking for recent high-line burglaries that have mystified us.
I understand his recent departure from St. Brendan's may be related to this problem.
Decade, 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 decade.
Heard you guys screaming for like a decade now.
Every decade, every goddamn century.
I haven't had a date in almost a decade because if a girl Googles me. Could you walk me through what happened?
These qualities may be tested many more times in this decade.
No social gathering is without its Leonard Zelig joke, and in a decade of popular dance crazes, a new one sweeps.
Hesitate, 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 hesitate.
Gandalf does not hesitate to sacrifice those closest to him, those he professes to love.
I will not hesitate to let either of you die.
Should you stand guilty before me again, I shall not hesitate to impose a custodial sentence.
But I will not hesitate. Not for a second.
But if I can be of any help, Marty, don't hesitate to ask.
Absurd, 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 absurd.
This is absurd.
Our situation is absurd.
He and our infant son would be killed 2 years later by the Prussian grippe, an absurd little disease.
That he'd spent 4 years fulfilling the absurd and tedious duty of graduating from college.
It's bad enough that you've wasted your time with this absurd acting business.
Our situation is absurd.
She and our infant son would be killed 2 years later by the Prussian grippe, an absurd little disease.
Conflict, 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 conflict.
With our combined strength, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy.
To see all the possible outcomes of the coming conflict.
There is no conflict whatsoever.
Okay, so there's been conflict in the family because of your use then?
Because there's a conflict in every human heart between the rational and the irrational, between good and evil.
Minority, 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 minority,
We are a minority of traitors and invaders.
Consider the minority opinion, but try to get along with the majority of opinion once it's accepted.
The vocal minority and a lot more besides.
Result of a courageous minority opinion is a resounding success for psychiatry. Result of maintaining a courageous minority opinion is a resounding success for psychiatry.
You said so yourself. There is no minority report.
Fiction, 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 Fiction.
Fiction, adventure.
This is a pleasant fiction, isn't it?
I mean, I've heard of him, but I don't really read that much.
Fiction, that is.
They made his entire childhood seem like fiction.
Well, this may appeal to your lurid taste in fiction, Watson.
ممنون که منو تا پایان این ویدیو همراهی کردین. خیلی ازتون ممنونم که ساب میکنین، لایک و کامنت برام میذارین و اینکه حتما زنگوله رو بزنین تا هر وقت براتون فیلم جدید آپلود کردم ازش مطلع بشید. تا ویدیوی بعدیمون مراقب خودتون باشین. خداحافظ.